Hello, and this is Dalia, and I'm reading the Vampire Diaries, The Struggle, and I'm starting on Chapter 9, Part 1. I know I'm going to be sorry I asked this, Matt said, turning red-rimmed eyes from their contemplation of I-95 to Stefan in the passenger seat beside him. But can you tell me why we want these extra special, not available locally semi-tropical weeds for Elena? Stefan looked into the back seat at the results of their search through hedgerows and rough grass. The plants, with their branching green stems and their small tooth leaves, did look more like weeds than anything else. The dried remains of blossoms at the ends of the shoots were almost invisible, and no one could pretend the shoots themselves were decorative. What if I said they could be used to make an all-natural eye wash, he offered, after a moment's thought, or an herbal tea. Why? Why were you thinking saying something like that? Not really. Good, because if you did, I'd probably deck you. Without actually looking at Matt, Stefan smiled. There was something new stirring inside him, something he hadn't felt for nearly 5 centuries, except with Elena. Acceptance, warmth, and friendship shared with a fellow being who did not know the truth about him, but who trusted him anyway, who was willing to take him on in faith. He wasn't sure he deserved it, but he couldn't deny what it meant to him. It almost made him feel human again. Elena stared at her image in the mirror. It hadn't been a dream. Not entirely. The wounds in her neck proved that, and now that she'd seen them, she noticed the feeling of light headiness of lethargy. It was her own fault. She'd taken so much trouble to warn Bonnie and Meredith not to invite any strangers into their house, and all the time she'd forgotten that she herself had invited Damon into Bonnie's house. She'd done it that night. She had set up the dumb supper in Bonnie's dining room and called out into the darkness, "Come in." And the invitation was good forever. He could return any time he liked, even now, especially now, while she was weak, and might easily be hypnotized into unlocking a window again. Elena stumbled out of the bedroom, past Bonnie, and into the guest bedroom. She grabbed her tote bag and began stuffing things into it. "Elena, you can't go home." "Well, I can't stay here," Elena said. She looked around for her shoes, spotted them by the bed, and started forward. Then she stopped with a strangled sound. Lying on the daintily crumbled linen of the bed, there was a single black feather. It was huge, horribly huge, and real and solid, with a thick, waxy-looking shaft. It looked almost obscene, resting there on the white percale sheets. Nausea swept over Elena, and she turned away. She couldn't breathe. Okay, Bonnie said. "If you feel that way about it, I'll get Dad to take you home." Okay, so we'll stop there, and I'll continue.